Hello, and good morning. It's been friggin' ages since I last did one of these. So, if you're unfamiliar with the Pit, here is the long and short of it. It is essentially a roguelike that's more or less set in space. Sounds like a strange one, I know, but there's a lot of cool stuff with this one, so let's get this thing going. All these runs, as before and as for now, will be random random runs. So this is a feature that was included in the Pit Fan mod, something that was started last year, I want to say towards the end of last year, and one that I did a few parts on, but then kind of wound up dropping off the radar for just a little bitty bit there, but yeah, let's go ahead and get the start here. Actually, I should probably drop the link over on their side of things real quick. So the randomized mode here, pretty much what it consists of, as you'd probably assume, is essentially a full random thing. Normally, like if we go to a new game here, like let's say we go to Insane, we go for a normal thing, like let's say we go for the Marine guy, we just erase the previous thing, but normally you would have something that fits that particular character. So, like this guy starts off with a sword, with a rifle, with some impact armor, and a semi-automatic pistol, as well as some grenades, some food, all that sort of thing. And then if we went for a random version of the same thing, it would essentially be a random character with a random weapon, random armor, random sub-weapons, random, stuff that they start with. All kinds of cool, fun stuff. And actually, sometimes you wind up being ridiculously overpowered, like one time where the guy basically turned into Thor, and in other cases, less so. Alright. Going to get this going, so. I'll just mod right here. And let's start a new run. So, gonna go ahead and do fast, gonna go ahead and do insane. I'm gonna go ahead and remember to hit the random button this time. That's this over here. And do insane. Now, what this consists of, it'll end up skipping every other level pretty much. What is this? Mag sniper rifle. Okay, so that is kind of piddly damage, but absurd penetration. Actually, that should be enough penetration to get through just about anything. Lots of penetration for enjoyment, I suppose. And also seems to run off flechette rounds, I guess? Interesting. There's just basically a long-range harpoon, more or less. Okay. Guy starts off with a knife, reflective armor, so really good against lasers, and not so great against anything else. Spider pie, delicious. Okay, so that gets rid of radiation and poison. That gives a fair bit of food. Got 1 incendiary and 5 regenerative patches. Gonna put those there so I actually remember to use them. Skill-wise, I don't know what's actually changed. I haven't tried this mod in a very long time now. Let's see. Rifle-wise, his skills suck. Knife-wise, he's semi-competent. He's got some pistol skill, but he has no pistol. So this guy is pretty much the crafting character. I know that he has the ability to rip some items apart. Yeah, weapon skills have changed. So for rifles, we've got Sharpshoot, Overwatch. Sharpshoot is basically just a penetrative shot, if I recall. Overwatch will allow you to fire when it's not your turn. Crippling shot, just disable something's legs for a little bit, and then double tap is just a double shot, like it sounds like. Knife-wise, let's see, we've got backstab, stabby stab, twist the knife, and dash. Okay, so dash is something I eventually want to go for. As far as mechanics on this go, unless something has changed since the last time, this will consist of a thing where if you swing a weapon around, everything up till 45, you have a chance of just gaining a free level off of it. Once you get to 45, though, you have to spend your level ups to actually raise it up. There's a little bit of stuff to be considered there. I'm just exploring this first floor a little bit to pick up a few more ingredients and whatever else. Stab. But yeah, figured everything else seems to be all defective and non-functional today. That hurt. We'll see if the Pit wants to be nice and be the one thing that works today. But kid you not, 3 separate things I ended up going and trying to start streams for. 3 separate things I've run into unprecedented amounts of glitches. Let's see, wound up getting a laptop for Father's Day. Thing wound up showing up with a defective battery by the looks of it, so it just flat out can't charge, can't hold charge, can't even run on its wire, so it's presumably both the wire and the battery. so that's always fun. Oh, and go and call in to try and call in the warranty for it. Like, yeah, no, our computers are broken. You're gonna have to do that later.
Damned thing.
Alright, getting close to a double over here, though. Okay. First thing, definitely want might up on this guy. He's pretty friggin' weak. His perception's fine, his finesse is fine. Powers your psionic stuff, which I won't expect him to be using for a very long time. Okay, I think we're gonna go rifle on this. We'll go rifle. Knife will go up. Kind of expect to be using melee with this guy, to be totally frank. Lockpick, definitely. Might be able to get a better weapon that way. Okay, foraging, yes. Biotech, probably. Telekinesis. And let's say Decipher, just in case that might help out. So, there's a absolute metric crapload of different props throughout this game, so I'm not even covering what a lot of the skills do until we get there. Like, for example, Decipher is useful, just to go over here. Sometimes there's terminals that drop notes, since all items are already unlocked for the sake of this mod. Those notes won't necessarily help much, but they're like a free XP drop. But then there's also storage containers that allow you to double up your inventory size. You need Decipher for that. There's some particular props that that'll just give you temporary buffs and stuff like that. Okay, let this poison wear off. There we go. Yeah, we did explore the whole thing. We keep the level up for... There we go. That probably would have been almost a death right there. So I went ahead and leveled up right in the middle of that turn. Let's put this up. Let's put... Probably check if there's any commentary to this whole thing. So since this thing takes the entire screen, like one of these cases where I can't really see it. Well, can't see it unless I go ahead and push the button on my phone. I might as well do that. Alright, let's go and put knife up. Really no point in delaying that as it is. Rifle. Oh, I probably should have put it for lockpick, huh? Oh well. Oh well. What else? Biotech, foraging for sure. Those ones are just going to be necessary. And telekinesis, probably want to go resistance for that last point, actually. Oh. Nope. Okay, that's not ideal. Go ahead and use one of these patches here to regen health. Yeah, lockpick is pretty self-explanatory, is just generally being useful. These blobs, probably have just killed that thing outright, but oh, well there we go. First run's already dead, how about that? That lasted all of 5 seconds. Let's do one more.
Damn this hellish place.
Like I said, it's been a hot minute since I did one of these. Once again, fast, insane, hit the random button, which I will remember to do one of these days. Alright, what do we got? Okay, we got Necromancer, or Lich, as it were. Okay, heals the wearer over time. Well, crap. I got a necklace that essentially serves as permanent regen. I can't use it. Fire grenade. That's... ugh. Okay, melee weapon that runs on batteries, and a slightly self-aiming auto rifle. Okay. This is gonna suck. What do we have psi-wise? Okay. Oh, he already comes with a bunch of this stuff equipped. I always forget that.
This vessel feels nothing.
Apparently he feels nothing, though. Alright, dead to first threat. Very possible. I'll be honest, the Lich is probably my least favorite character. He's the most useful for grinding up Blue Room stuff, but... I'm curious if Blue Room still exists. I know a few months ago there was discussion over whether they should be removed. I kind of hope they were removed. Probably use some more of these psi abilities too. That guy.
This vessel feels nothing.
So the funny part is this guy is nigh unkillable early on. Well, he has next to no might to speak of, but his health, like the other guy had maybe 30, this guy has like 300. Kinda ridiculous. Now, you might be saying, hey, wait a minute, it can't be 300, clearly it shows like 40 or whatever, or 65. So basically his brain and his health are kind of a shared health pool, as it were. Alright, let's go computers, foraging. This guy doesn't really need to eat, he eats to heal himself, so he just like slaps some steak on himself and calls it an arm. Pretty great. Alright, telekinesis, because we're probably going to be using that.
I have no blood to spill.
Of course, the downside to this whole thing is that you're similarly running into an issue where, despite having a bunch of psionic ability, he doesn't want to use them because it's essentially spending health. So, there's that. He has a very hard time keeping himself running. There's a lot more things to be concerned with, like those bats right there that drain your psi when they hit, effectively do a ton of extra damage to this guy. So normally it's like, oh,
can stand against death.
Actually, hang on, one thing. Let me go ahead and turn the voices down a little bit. That's very loud. There we go. Alright, what? Oh, it's because it's saved as random, that's why. There we go. Actually, come to think of it, I'm very tempted to just re-roll this for a character I like more. I think I'm gonna do that. I'm not a huge fan of the Lich. He's really good if you know how to use him, and I do know how to use him, I just don't like the character. And you gave me another... Wait a minute. Potato salad. Okay, actually we might be on a different run here. We got a frickin' lightsaber, we got a self-targeting, like, flechette handgun. Thing seems pretty darn strong, too. And a stun gun, and we got a thing that makes the guy that's already immune to disease immune to more diseases. Alright, let's go one more. Come on, scout or something. Perfect. We got a scout. What's this? We got a harvester. We started with... Okay. We started with both of the Lich weapons. Oh! Oh, the mouse wheel actually affects the zoom now. Good. About friggin' time. Okay. So we got spear skill on this, so probably can't use it for a while. Accuracy drops off by range. Oh yeah, this is that throwing scythe. Now I remember what it is. Okay, so it's the Reaper scythe, pretty much. I started with ceramic plates, so that's fantastic. Immunoagents, very good if we run to disease enemies, confusion grenade. Ribs, which can probably turn into something better. Maser scanner. Let's see, finds a variety of objects in cramped catter conditions. Okay, this helps with foraging. That could give a bunch of really good drops early on. I'm actually just going to use the fists for a little bit. Take off the armor. Alright, so if you're wondering about those two weapons, by the way, the scythe is a health stealer and the knife is a health stealer, so that's a pretty freaking good roll right there. Provided we can get past the first few floors and, I don't know, get any kind of firearm whatsoever, it'll be a pretty good time. Also, if you're wondering on the music, this is the OST from Vagrant Story. One of those friggin' amazing things that Mitsuno had a hand in. Almost everything that guy touches amazing. Except for maybe Unsung Story, which might still be amazing whenever that finally comes out. The folks that have it now actually seem to be relatively competent. I should be using that scanner. I'll probably get some, There's why that knife's amazing. You hit twice with it, and it heals you. I'm gonna put it away for now because I don't want it to get destroyed. Oh, although we probably won't get any, like, friggin' shotguns or whatever in these piles of goo. at least worth using this thing to make sure we do get some supplies. This is kind of your random supply drop section of the game. So you get your first floor, you get all your random stuff in here, you get a few levels to get yourself sorted out, and then once you get going from here, you can finally be off to the races. By this point, you should at least be a couple steps on your way to whatever build it is that you want. So the Scout's main thing is just she can pretty much specialize in everything, which is why she's probably my second favorite. Absolute favorite is Rapari, just because he's ridiculous. He's a giant bug. He's a giant bug that in the base game is just bad at everything. And in the mod, he's pretty good. They're gonna get spear skill up for the sake of the Reaper Sight. That thing's awesome. None of this stuff is. Probably get a knife up though. Go for this one. Go for traps. Lockpick. How many points do we even have left? Okay, one more. Go for mechanical. So she's, I think, the only one that can have all of her miscellaneous skills completely maxed out by the end. No mind skills though. Interesting. Okay, so I guess she gets no mind skills. Don't know when that happened. Originally, the way it was, she got 8 points, and it used to be any skill that you used successfully cost 1 point, everything else cost 2, and it was just a combined thing with all the skills. The mod changed it so that you get a certain amount of points per category, and you just kind of spend them as you want. Just because you ran into kind of like a dicky situation where, say you were training your character to like, use some cannon or something, and you really couldn't fire it successfully to effectively spend your points. It was good stuff. Charge punch. And there's another level. Okay, we got some junk. We might be able to make a junk grenade. And so MacGyvering everything is kind of just the name of the game here. As you do. Oh, there's actually 4 people on this thing. Hello, 4 people. Alright, I'm just gonna run past that thing because it will murder me in the face. If the audio's a little bit high. If I'm wrong on that, just let me know. Let me double check. Mind skills 8. Body skills 8. Interesting. Oh, actually she might still get just those 8. That's what it is. Let's double check. I'll get spear. Is this going down to 7? Yes. Okay, so she just gets 7 overall. Her stuff just functions a little bit differently. Let's do biotech and foraging then. Probably going to want telekinesis. I know that you can't mana bread your way to victory anymore, so I'm not going to bother with manifestation. Yes, probably mechanical. Probably couldn't hurt to have knives going up a little bit higher. Well, those ones are fine. Lockpick for sure. Traps could be useful if I find wormhole traps. I'm just gonna put 1 into that. All those scale all the way up to 100, by the way. So you're basically going up by increments of 1 to 3%. Right. Wait for the magic healing knife to happen. That rat, though. Only how many... What's the range on this thing? Worth a shot. There we go. 29% possibly save the run if this ever gets anywhere. Okay, don't rest. No. How much health do you have? 5. I don't want to wreck this dagger, but I can't really get anywhere without it because of the stun. Okay, so stun, if you're unaware, it just basically reduces all of your skills by a certain amount. You're just gonna have a harder time using just about anything while it lasts. So, for example, if you're swinging a knife, you're less likely to swing it properly, so you'll probably end up damaging the thing. But okay, it's a madness trap. Might as well get out of here and nap that away, or just waste turns until it disappears. This just makes you hallucinate a bunch of stuff attacking you out of nowhere. Pretty annoying. That guy's real low. Okay. Now that I know the rat thing was here and is gone, I can go ahead and put the armor on. Vagrant Story LP win. Actually, come to think of it, whatever happened to the mod for that? There was a mod I was waiting for ages ago. That just kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed. Oh, jeez. Okay, I was worried about these rat things because they have a tendency to eat your armor like nothing. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna have to check on that mod. Okay, don't stab door with dagger. Punch door. Oh! He added a little thing that tells you when that thing's active. Nice. So previously there was no way of knowing whether a trap was active or not. Okay. Interesting. This thing's actually contextual now. So it pops up whenever you're actually able to use that ability. Like, her melee ability is high enough to use Bash, so she can do a double punch on that door for a little bit more damage. Interesting! He's added so much cool stuff since last time. Alright, this rat's in the way, so I can't finish off the robot. It's just gonna run away. I have no way of knowing how durable this door is, but probably not very. Alright, we're just gonna hope for the best. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to sit here in the corner. As soon as I see something's actually doing damage, I'm going to attack that thing. Okay. It looks like this. The nice thing is, even though they're imagined, they will prevent stuff from getting to you sometimes. But this guy decided not to do anything. Also, the durability is over here, although I think that was there the last time I did one of these. What was the mod about? So, it was basically a complete rebalance mod for Vagrant Story. It seemed like the guy was going through and making just about everything better. He was adding some new enemy types, he was adding some new areas, he was pretty much doing like a full, well and proper overhaul of the thing. So that's why I was a little... Well, I'm not surprised that it was taking so long, but I was kind of bummed out that it wasn't coming out yet. So it was, let's see, the last update that I saw was a couple months ago. So that was when he was posting video updates on YouTube there. So those would come every now and then. I can't believe there's that many Vagrant Story mods out there. You know what, I can get the guy's name. I think I still have him over here. Vagrant Story mod. For some reason he wasn't big on advertising yet. Like, he didn't want that many people to know about it just quite yet. So let's see, Daniel Cruzerio. There we go. I think that's the guy. Yep. Yeah, the last update was a month ago, when he was introducing gargoyle statues. And apparently those things were having an issue with the attack animation. So, there's that kind of stuff. A couple of months isn't that bad. And yeah, a month ago then. So it was supposed to come out 3 or 4 months ago, and then it just kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed, so I don't know if it's actually out yet, finally. Oh, it's no manipulation. But yeah, as soon as I know that it's out, I'm gonna definitely start on that. That thing sounded awesome. I freaking love Vagrant Story. That's like the best part of, like, well, Dungeon Crawlers, Resident Evil, friggin', just any Matsuno game. Just like going and taking some of the best stuff for it. It's actually funny how they ended up borrowing some of that stuff for Tactics Ogre later. Just pull rifles up just because I don't know what to spend that last point on. 10% lockpick. Right, lockpick would have been a thing to spend it on, huh? Still diseased. That's mostly why I'm pumping strength on this character. I want them to get strong enough just to fight off the disease. The stronger you are, the better your chances of, oh crap, that sounded big and scary. I know there's different floor bosses now. Functionally speaking, we have only one effective weapon. Right now, the accuracy on the Harvester scythe is going to suck, so that isn't worth mentioning. Wow. Wow. That's amazing. That is some pretty sucky odds there. Alright, keep working on spears, keep working on might. What else can we do here? Lockpick for sure. Lockpicks because why not? Telekinesis. Do electronics, computer, foraging, and biotech. All of those should hopefully be relatively self-explanatory, even if you haven't seen it before. Also, let's get manipulate on the ready part. Bring the fear. So this is what fear does. It just makes you a little bit faster, and it makes you scared of things. Actually, bash is pretty decent damage out of these fists. I've never actually tried bash. Do a challenge run killing every boss in one combo? Oh man, that'd be insane. I don't know how stuff's changed in that one though. Although that basically sounds like how I usually play the game, quite frankly. It's just like, okay, we're basically stuck in this 1 second of time. Let's go ahead and just like hit this thing 80 billion times and hope it dies. Like, as long as it's more than 1 damage, it can eventually be done. But yeah, if you've never played Vagrant Story before, it's this fun mechanic where you basically, instead of going up and attacking something, you just, like, you stop, you pull out this little damage bubble. It's like, okay, you can hit whatever things, here's your percentage for every time that you swing your weapon. Every time you swing it, though, you basically go and you decrease your defense. So you have this constant thing where you stop time, you can swing as many times as you want as long as you continue getting your combos right. However, if you end up screwing it up at any point, and that guy gets an attack on you, you're constantly building up that modifier against yourself. Like, you can get insta-kill countered by dang near anything if you just decide to go for it in one combo. Hell, sometimes that'll happen regardless. Like, for example, anything that has an explosion ability or whatever else, that winds up getting multiple hits per each section because everything counts as this collection of limbs rather than a single entity. So if there's an explosion, it ends up hitting every single limb instead of, you know, just hitting unit and that's it. So there's that. But yeah, so a lot of the bosses wind up being this thing where you run up to them, like, okay, you know, you start swinging at them, you set yourself up to a position where you can do anything more than 1 damage, which is sometimes a little bit more difficult than it sounds. Oh crap, I was hoping it would pull out the laser instead of swinging. But okay, so you set yourself in that kind of position, and then you just keep attacking over and over, building up your risk score. Then you use that risk score to use break arts, which are just like super finisher moves, pretty much. And then, assuming everything hit, you might have won. And assuming it didn't, then it's about time to go digging through your inventory to basically go Skyrim health your way to victory. It's pretty great. But yeah, if you thought Skyrim invented the infinite healing inventory, you were wrong. Although then again, that probably cannot be said of so many games, but still. Is there anything I can do about this mech room? Because I don't think so. I mean, I've got like a knife, and I've got a freaking scythe. I can't imagine having any effective way of dealing with the robots here. Oh well. Put this up, let's put spear up, because I guess I'm gonna have to use the spear. Lockpick for sure. Try to get some better weapon. There's no electronics. If I can find a crafting bench, I think I have the right stuff to just build a regular spear at this point. That might help. Foraging would definitely help. Telekinesis still. Although the penetration on telekinesis was nerfed way back when, too, so I doubt that improved anywhere. Assault. Yeah, if I find the assault thing, that would also be handy. What can you do against these guys? And miss, it seems. almost dead. Who's this? Oh, I have EMPs. What the hell am I doing? Good job, idiot. Okay, I'm gonna let this bat get close. Use this dagger on it. Make sure to just use this to recover. Okay, okay. Have that. Anything for anti-poison? Okay, no anti-venom. That's fine. I'll just take a little nap. Okay, something's coming out there. Can't tell what it is yet. Oh, it's one of those. Also, to answer the question from earlier, yes, blue rooms do appear to still exist, and we got backstab. The backstab is one of those abilities where you kind of need to pay attention to the cone of vision. So, yeah, okay. So, Tesseract Claw shuts down. Fantastic. Got EMPs. Got some old food. Actually, yeah, we can. There we go. We got some artificial food. That should keep going for now. Man, I had that option that entire time, and almost died because of it. Okay, shotgun shells for a shotgun item. Ooh, there's a cooker up here, and I didn't even notice. Okay, so cooker. I think I have the right ingredients to make a bland wedge. Reoptimizing. Okay, another knife. This is the poison one, right? Yeah, so that's the poison knife, so basically anything stabbed by that thing will die eventually. Since poison is far stronger in the mod. I guess all that's really left as far as special knives go is, Oh, enemy can see it. Fine. Yeah, all that's really left as far as knives go is to go get the anti-robot knife. Door traps, scout. Oh, it doesn't say what kind of trap this is. Speed increase, good. Man, that's good. Okay. Spear, knife. Might as well, because that's all we got. Lockpick. Biotech. It would be good for foraging to go up at some point, if it ever feels like doing so. Currently has not felt like it. Okay, yeah, we can make a blandwich. We need moldy bread, moldy cheese, and some raw meat. Sounds healthy. We got burnt ribs. I prefer those so I stop getting disease. Actually, no, I can just eat those with the amino agents. I can make some roast beast, though. Roast beasts. There we go. This knife will be incredibly good against anything living breathing. If it survives getting shanked by it, it will eventually die. Actually, I'm probably going to keep the charges on that thing handy because it does run out of poison. The poison is a semi-uncommon drop, I would say. There's just poison glands that you find laying around. I think bats and stuff drop them. It's not really the most impossible thing to find, but it's just something that you don't run into that often. It's 250. Didn't that drop a bone? I think that's the turkey that drops a bone. Need a repair station or something. Or a weapon. Yeah, like here we go. The bear will eventually die now. Don't even have to worry about that. If I just say take a nap right here, it will give an XP drop. There he is. There he goes. Problem solved. Just get poison dagger, stab bear. Probably have popped this XP booster, but oh well. So I haven't gotten any better armor. How's this stuff holding up? 128 out of 40. It's acceptable. And go ahead and pop this now, since we're probably going to get another level pretty quick here. Why on earth did I decide that the one with the knife and spear only is the best one to go with? Well, is a question that cannot be answered. Okay. Did I put lockpick? No, I didn't. I think the lockpick requirements also went up, because I really don't recall so many failures with such a pretty decent lockpick skill before. Okay. They might be thinking that's a waste of an EMP. However, there's a sound of some big scary thing, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get berserked here any second now. Yeah, there we go. I'm just gonna chill out real quick. Can I copy? Probably can copy another EMP. Oh, that actually succeeded. Surprisingly enough. That might go an even higher. Yeah, mechanical up, let's get lockpick up, knife, spears, you know, the usual. Knife. Computers, because there's at least a 2% improvement on this thing functioning properly. Otherwise I think I might just explode that EMP I just made. He's out there and it's pissed. Happy fail, okay. So no crit fail at least. I want this knife, so that thing galloping this way, wherever it is, probably coming through the other door. I have a motion sensor, why don't I just use it? Put that thing right there. Oh yeah, it's either down here or right over here. The bummer square closed the coffin lid on Vagrant Sword and Parasite Eve. Not necessarily, though. So here's the bizarre thing. Anything that Square's related to has slowly been integrated into their MMO, like, to a disturbing degree. Even, like, of all things, everyone thought Tactics Ogre was dead until they started suddenly putting everything from Tactics Ogre into it. So, let's see, FF7 trailer had a third birthday reference in it, though. Why third birthday, of all things? That one... It's weird how Parasite Eve happened. Like, the first one was amazing, and the second one was... dull and horrible, and then the third one just like it was fun, but it made so little sense that you gotta wonder what they were smoking when they made it. Insufficient finesse for this knife. Let's see if I can get through this thing without blowing it up, and no I can't. No, this thing is not dead. But yeah, so it's very possible. I doubt that we'll end up seeing... I mean, Vagrant Story didn't really need a sequel. I guess Parasite Eve, they did stuff. That's all I can really say with that one. Like, honestly, probably one of my... The first Parasite Eve is probably one of my favorite RPGs out there. Again, I don't get what they were thinking when they came to the second ones. Like, the third birthday almost feels like they had some completely different game. They're like, what if we put some Parasite Eve in here? Maybe somebody will want to buy it. Okay, we'll go ahead and refer to this as the completely not worth it room. At this point, they're all aggressive, so I might as well just carry on. Okay, see, only played 3 and the story was convoluted and non-existent. Yeah, okay, so, of those 3, the very first one was nothing at all in third birthday. Like, it's funny because even the characters aren't the same in it. And also, I thought I had a completely different weapon equipped there. Like, they have a character that basically looks and is technically titled the same, but apparently is a completely different person. Now, the very first one, you're like going around, you have this interesting combat system where at any point you just pop a bubble around yourself, just like Vagrant Story did. Actually, Vagrant Story was apparently a tech demo for it. So you just like pop this bubble around yourself, and you just sort of pick a thing, you shoot at it, or you use an ability, or you heal yourself, whatever. You have a whole bunch of different abilities. And the interesting thing was, you could go and combine a bunch of abilities and weapon types and everything else to get some absolutely retarded things going. Like, one of my favorite ones is that you could combine an SMG, shotgun, and rocket launcher to basically be an explosive scattergun that hits the entire room in one turn. It's pretty fantastic. Let's see, so they had to scrap up some BS for third birthday? Yeah, so the very first one, it's just like some rando cop sees an opera, sees everybody in there catch fire, and then they're told, hey, so you've also got sweet fire powers, and they're like, okay, I don't understand, but okay. And then just over time, they keep, developing little abilities here and there. They just go from random beat cop to suddenly being this crazy, super powerful person that can fight anything. And they kind of justify a lot of the RPG-isms of, like, anytime anybody goes within, like, the sphere of influence of the main, like, bad guy there, they just catch fire, and that's it. So, it was pretty much part of the same experiment, and they don't really explain how she got there, but whatever. So she's the only one that can go fight this guy and whatever else. They've got all these cool scenes in it throughout the entire thing. It's like this whole buddy cop movie mixed with sci-fi and everything else. It's really, really, really cool, really well done. Everything about it, from like the music, the settings, the mechanics, is just frickin' beautiful. And yeah, then the second one came out, and they're like, we're gonna put some weird limitations on the mechanics. We're gonna make everything make no sense, and then it seemed like they were gonna copy a formula that was used by, of all things, if you've ever played the Resident Evil ripoff Men in Black game, where it's like you have your base and you're just repeatedly sent out on different missions, but you pick a couple things and then you spend your points and you go on. Every run can potentially be completely different, kind of thing. Well, they try to do something like that, except they only did it once. Like, you were in your base and went back to your base exactly one time, and then you spent the rest of the time in like a rinky-dink little town in the middle of the desert, just like fighting the same few enemy types for maybe 5 more hours, and then you got into a last dungeon, and that was the end. Again, it did not make any sense. Like, it had some cool mechanics, but who knows what they were thinking. And then, like, the third one, it's the weird dystopian future, and then you're like some body-hopping ghost or some crap. Again, of that series, would recommend only the first one. Okay, there we go. Finally done looking at that level up menu. Let's see, PE2 had more magic variety than PE2, but fixed weapons. Yeah, again, it had... PE2 had some interesting mechanics, but they broke so many other things that it just kind of became dull, That's one of those ones that I'm kind of surprised never had a mod that came and fixed its issues. Yeah, this thing's just a knife now. Because I don't have any poison load into it. Which I guess is just fine. For the moment, it's just fine. Yeah, so PE1, it's mostly just PE2 you got access to more stuff earlier on. I think PE1 actually did have more stuff that just took you a longer time to get to it. And you didn't really have a choice over when you ended up getting those things. You just got them as your levels went up. Whereas in PE2, you had a choice. That's kind of the main difference between those two, but yeah, it's odd. Let's see. FF7 remake trailer Parasite Eve reference. Wow. Maybe Square's going through a weird time right now. Because, okay, right? So, they want to reference Parasite Eve, but they're going to reference the worst, probably the worst one. And then, well, I guess 2 would be the worst one, but 3 would be the one that had the least to do with the series. But okay. Then they want to go and they want to reference Tactics Ogre, but they reference the worst part of it, which was the Palace of the Dead. That was the part that they ended up going and putting in their MMO. It's... You know how every one of their RPGs just has an infinite death dungeon? Just like the bonus dungeon that you just go there for grinding? That's the only part they copied. Like 4 games worth of all kinds of wide lore and interesting character motivations and like stuff on the scope of Game of Thrones and everything else going on. 3 separate areas set up and everything. Like, no. They want to reference the single most boring dungeon in the entire series. Really? Really? That's all we get? It's been 8 years since a sequel, and that's the only thing that comes out about it? See, apparently the FF7 only has a little over a year's worth of development potential despite being started like 5 years ago? Oh yeah, they were apparently redoing stuff over and over for it. Like, when they switched studios, they said the last one had apparently, quote-unquote, done stuff that was, like, they were better off just starting over than actually trying to salvage any of it. Because apparently it was just a fusterfluck of random ideas that didn't do anything yet. So, that's... I mean, it didn't show up at E3, so... If you're gonna get worried, now's the time to get worried. I don't know. Personally, I would prefer any kind of, like, Matsuno game whatsoever to any more FF7. Ran into a few too many creepy fanboys for that. Like, I don't know. The 7 was good. Just, it didn't really, like... Aside from the magic system in it, it's not like it really did, you know, that much innovation, all things considered. Because everything it did, a lot of it, the previous ones on the series have done too. I mean, it's good. Just never been a fan of it. But, yeah. Let's see, and the game director is the same one developing H3 and was really... That probably took all his time. Yeah, Kingdom Hearts, another series I never understood. Although that being said, apparently that's the common joke about the series. Like, nobody knows what the hell's going on, but the mechanics are good, so okay. So if it works, it works, you know? If it works, it works. Where do we want to put this last point, or last couple points? Probably mechanical. Let's say traps, just in case there's a wormhole trap anywhere. Neural webbing. I'm gonna think about why don't I set her up as a necro? It might be interesting. What's neural webbing even used for nowadays? Anti-venom, definitely make one of those because I keep getting poisoned every 5 seconds. Grab that, probably reload. When did I? Oh, idiot! Okay. I just used the poison reload for my knife to go make an anti-venom. Armor's slightly damaged. Yeah, the ceramic plate is the only reason that this run is still going. Oh, that confusion grenade. I do. Fantastic. That's done. Thing needs to get salvaged. Good. All my sandwich earlier. I'm gonna go ahead and steal this mitochondria, which, by the way, speaking of Parasite Eve, if you ever want to see one word making up friggin' 80% of the entire dialogue in a single game, friggin' PE1 and mitochondria. Like every 5 seconds. How can they do these things, mitochondria? Why is there a bad guy, mitochondria? How are they still alive, mitochondria? How come they don't take damage, mitochondria? And the single question is mitochondria. There we go. Managed to finally shoot that thing without dissolving my spear. Actually, speaking of directors, by the way, apparently, yeah, all the people that were making Armored Core stuff are apparently off doing other projects right now, so that could be the main reason we have never seen an Armored Core sequel in, what is it, like 6 years? Going on 6 years, something like that? Just because the guy, like the main designer and whatever else, apparently, or the main director or whatever, after 3, he went off to go do Left Alive. The producers went off to go do, what's it called? The Demon Machine or whatever? Demon Ex Machina. So there's that. I have just screwed myself over here. Okay. You know what? Here's what we're gonna do. Drop entire inventory. Aha! Now you can't do anything! Can't break my stuff if I have no stuff. Look how awesome this guy with his mod is. Like, this stuff even goes back to its same quick save slots. What modder would go through the effort to go and redo the friggin' programming of the game to do a little convenience thing like that? Almost no one, that's who. And Nico Lizard is so friggin' cool. Alright, I need the A, stop using that. B, reload the spear gun. C, die less. There. Shank this guy. And hope that this EMP does not flub, because if it does, this could be game over. So, 87%. Nice. Okay, I'm gonna take a step left. I'm gonna pop this armor on. Okay, maybe we didn't want to pop the armor. The run is over. Unless this does something amazing. Yeah. That thing's gonna be way too strong to get anywhere at this point. Okay, one more. Game, fast, random, insane. Yes, got Ranger. Okay, got the Ranger. I think that's the knockout gun. Lone Eagle. What is this? Rifle rounds. Oh, it's the Magnum. Okay, so let's see here. 8 to 16, penetration 80. Powerful ball fires a single rifle bolt for needing to be reloaded. So yeah, it's an elephant pistol basically. Okay, it runs off rifle rounds. Got the super poison knife again. Got the healing. Okay. If I fail this run, it's my fault and my fault alone. Because this is a pretty friggin' amazing thing at this point. What's Stinger? This used to be Tail Swipe. Why is it Stinger now? Oh, it's because this is the assassin. Okay. Even get a good melee ability. Have partial invisibility. Have repile movement. With the tail. And it poisons? Where did they get that? Is this the music for the mod, or is this... Oh, no, I'm just... I have the music turned off. The music for the mod... I can turn it back to the regular music if you want. I just heard it so many times. Just figured others had as well. Oh man, even Exo Armor? Jeez. Getting spoiled. Okay, so Regeneration Medallion, Okay, so quick regen on that one. I'm going to assume... I'm going to go ahead and assume that's the one that makes you more hungry as you use it, though. I'm going to leave it for when a heal is actually necessary. Actually, no, I'm going to leave the Exo Armor on. For one thing, few things should be able to damage this for now anyway. Keep whacking on this thing, eventually it'll be done. But yeah, let me know if you want me to switch back to regular music. I will gladly do so. Oh, Jesus. Goodbye, phone. Maybe I didn't want to have a phone here anyway. Jeez. Okay. Do this thing. But yeah, I just love that this is contextual now. And everything about this mod is just so good. It's like everything that could possibly be made better is just something he finds there. I have to say, both Rakes and Nika Lizard could, like, if there's a thing somewhere for, like, gods of modding, both of them need to be in there. They both taken otherwise amazing games and made them even more amazing. Like, gone and found all these things that nobody would have friggin' thought of and made them work. There's nothing. Got an instant double level off that. I guess it's fine enough. Ooh. There's a lot of strength gains. Okay. Mechanical, yes. Knife and pistol are already pretty darn high, but I'll go ahead and take them. Lockpick, yes. I think the assassin is in the mod is probably one of my favorites at this point. Just like looking at the abilities, it's all the stuff that I generally tend to use. Biotech, foraging, electronics, and computer. I'm not going to go for telekinesis on her, though. I want to do empathy. I don't want to do necro on her, actually. Actually, she should have some necro abilities already at that level. Soul Crush. Remind me. I tear the vitality and awareness from being introduced to a person. Okay. So that's the same Soul Crush as it was in the base game. But it still functions as a long-range telekinetic kill. You know, I like it was just curious if it was part of the mod. Yeah, no. Totally could be, though. Wouldn't even be surprised. Like, okay, so this mod, to give you an idea of just the sheer amount of quality of life changes, right? So the whole system of weapon skills and stuff like that, like, say, hitting twice with some certain thing, or, like in this case, like doing a double tail swipe or something like that, that straight up didn't exist. This entire psionic system, every single part of it is redone. All of this is redone in a different order for different reasons and whatever else. Like, for summon melee weapon, that's a new one. Never even knew about that one. But yeah, no, so all of this got redone. Like, before, there was a pretty clear meta that you would follow. Like, if you went and you got Redaction, you basically got your heal ability, you got your curing ability, so you could heal your health, you could heal your diseases and poisons, and then Haste used to be metabolic control, which, like, once you got metabolic control, you just didn't need to worry about food 90% of the time. And for what you did need to worry about, you had Manifestation, and your very first ability was one that was to make bread. So you made bread, you got metabolic control. Food is no longer an issue. You have no time constraints for the most part. You got telekinesis, it used to have ridiculous penetration, ridiculous damage, so what you would do is you would make food not an issue, you would stand at the end of a hallway and just TK fist everything in the entire game. Problem solved. Like, at some point, you were bound to get a laser rifle or something like that, and that's all you really needed to beat the last boss. So yeah, you could just completely win-douche the entire thing. So, they redid all of that. They redid almost all the items, so they all have some use and some drawback. Like, this, I'm telling you, is like, this wasn't even in the original game. Like, there were just a few weapon types and set ammo types. There was a very big variety of them. Like, I think you had maybe 100 or so different guns and whatever else. But odds are, you ran into a lot of stuff that you straight up couldn't use. The random mode that I'm using here is a new feature. That is some sexy damage. Okay, don't die though. That. Does vanish? 24, so this makes Tarka's not an issue. Anyway. No! Crap. Alright, well, they just got shot in the face. There's 40 floors of this, by the way. They may be thinking, hey, how on earth are you getting down those 40 floors? Just because I suck at it doesn't mean other people don't. Or do. Whatever. Okay, what's this? Guitar. The Hyper gun, assault weapon. It's an assault laser for a Hyper? Oh yeah, they even explained the loudness mechanic, so there's like a stealth mechanic that nobody really understood how it worked. Let's see, Hyper double shot laser rifle, interesting. And we're the Space Dolphin. Razor armor, Tarka dueling armor is slightly unwieldy, but sharp edges harm any enemy that gets too close. Pretty sure that's also a new one. Okay, as cool as this double shot laser rifle is, let me re-roll it on account of the Space Dolphin. Nah, let's go Space Dolphin. Alright, so Space Dolphin's mechanics, they got tentacles that do whippy dealy, they slowly dehydrate. We find any water source, they can rehydrate. Funny part is, in the base game, you kind of have this awkward situation where you had a dolphin that was dehydrating, but if, for example, you found a shower, that wasn't enough to rehydrate them. So, a tub or shower or whatever else did not rehydrate a dolphin. Normally they have to wear this moisture armor that they come with, so the odds of actually finding it are pretty slim. Actually, the odds of even finding any of those showers or whatever else are pretty slim, so this guy just takes damage constantly. Just fine, still manageable. Actually, let's see, does he have some ability that lets him... This guy starts off with a ton of psionic abilities, though. Oh. Okay. Go ahead and heal up. And there's a very good chance this guy's just screwed anyway. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit pissed that that last one died, but that's kind of the main drawback of the Assassin. They've got a whole bunch of bonuses, but health is not one of them. Slap. What kind of builds are we looking at for you? As per usual, dump and might. A very good thing to have. Mechanical, yes. Everything else is kind of sort of fine, so let's go lockpick. Mine stuff. Telekinesis, yes. Necro, please. And... big forging and electronics. It's funny, because I haven't even gotten to a single crafting station in all of these 3 runs yet. Kind of hilarious. So a lot of the time you're kind of relying on stuff you kind of MacGyvered together. I think I mentioned it before, my favorite story of this game is one time, the very first time I ended up actually beating it, in which I just ran out of shots of everything. All of the equipment that didn't rely on shots at all was completely broken. So it was just like this pile of unusable weapons and just random crafting ingredients, and that was it. And I had wormholed down to the very last floor, so I only had access to floor 39 and floor 40. So, kind of just, you know, ran around floor 39, and on the very last room wound up getting an Omni Gland, which was the last thing necessary to go make one of those hunger guns. Not actually called a hunger gun, but that's basically what it is. You use your hunger meter as a friggin' laser beam. Pretty fantastic. Wait, Dean, that one went well. The music is too loud. I apologize. There we go. It's a little bit quieter now. Hopefully that's okay. Let me know if that's okay. Always kind of hard to tell what's going to be too loud or not. Health left. Go ahead and heal. Is there a rehydrate ability? Probably not. And Dolphin's probably the worst thing that you can get on a random, but they've got so many psionic abilities that it kind of counters it. So you've gotta deal with pretty much never-ending damage, but at the same time you got like freaking mind punches and stuff right from the get-go. This thing. Delete, please. Deleted. Okay, let's tell what's going on here. Biomod cabinet, yes please. Ooh, some diagnostic chips. So if you don't know what those do, they basically tell you what a certain mod does, so if I get some mods, since they're randomized every single time, I will know what they do. Drop that. What else? Melee. Sure. Probably slowly going up anyway. Foraging. More telekinesis. More necro. Computers. More lockpick. Just like the assassin, though, this guy has almost no health. Still too loud. Interesting. How's that? I'm not even gonna complain about this armor getting most of the kills here. That's what it wants to do, that's what it wants to do. And stuff. That is annoying. Goodbye, coffee. Come back here, coffee. This right here. Well, you always have your coffee in a thermos. Because otherwise I would have had one very brown floored just now. That's not something anyone wants to deal with. Oh wait, just died. Oops. Well... Wait, no change in volume? Oh no, Memento pours flavors. How's that? Is that better or is that too quiet now? Because I can barely hear it. Much better? Okay. Good to know. Yeah, sorry, I don't know what decides that, because now I can barely hear it whatsoever. Go and say it again. Yes! Ripari. Or Ripari Bugman. Ooh, adding Carapace. Alright, so we're gonna put this away for later. This is friggin' fantastic for him. Double knife stabbies. Add arm blades, yes please. I don't know what the difference between the arm blades and closed fists are, but we'll find out, I suppose. Closed fist does that. Arm blades seems to do the same thing. Okay, his special is just attacking twice as fast. He's also got some inbuilt armor, and also started with the hands-down strongest armor in the game. He's got 25 armor to begin with, which is interesting. That used to be 40. I guess it was overpowered in the mod or something. But yeah, so he starts with some inbuilt armor. And got this thing. So this thing, 205... At 200, let's see, it would end up at 230 with all of his stuff combined. So absolutely nothing that I'm aware of could actually penetrate that. So it would all just completely bounce off. Thing is, every time this thing gets hit, its overall value ends up going down. That's why it's the shedding carapace. But alright, let's pop this sucker over here. His regen rate has always sucked. I believe that is still the case. You know, goody. Can you hear all the footstep sounds and everything else just fine, out of curiosity? Also, compared to the others, this guy has like 2 times as much health. He's, as I mentioned, just tougher in general. I actually start off with a reasonably okay pistol. It actually has a reasonable weapon. I'm gonna keep the knife whenever some extra penetration is needed. Okay, so you can hear all the footsteps and stuff, so interesting. Okay. because my volume's actually lower than it was earlier, and they were saying that one was too low. Oh well, nothing wants to work right today. None of it's gonna make sense. Who needs sense anyway? You need dollars. Punch, 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 punch. Double level is almost here. I don't know what the penalty for a double level is these days. We're gonna go for might. Mind skills, I'm surprised he has 2 of them. Foraging and biotech, no question. Also, thank you for those 1-drops. Wouldn't want 3s by any means. Melee, yes please. Knife, sure. Lockpick. He has no frickin' lockpick to speak of. I think that I almost want to go put the Parasite Eve soundtrack on now. It's an idea. Something to consider. That the first one's got a pretty fantastic soundtrack. The second one doesn't, and the third one I completely don't remember, so I'm assuming it doesn't either. No, I'm kind of surprised that YouTube doesn't automatically have a thing that says, hey, your audio's jacked up. Maybe here's a thing to fix it with. No. No. And a little bit more might. He's pretty friggin' strong as it is. It's mostly this other stuff that I should be working on, but I want to get it to 70 at least. Psionic things I'm not even going to bother with, because he's too stupid to ever get to them. Actually, yeah, on the level 100 run when I did it, granted, I was using base game mechanics, but still, when I ended up trying it that way, I think I got telekinesis, and even at 100, even with his stats maxed out and everything else, he could only use it once before he needed to take a nap. It was kind of nuts. What fun times. Still a little bit salty about that one. Like, went through the entire thing, and like the very first reaction to it is somebody downvoting it. Like, dang it, I've spent 6 months grinding for this. At least be somewhat nice, but oh well. It was probably deserved because it really sucked. Alright, fine. Thank everything. This is why he's amazing. You just drop him in a pile and everything dies. He's already taken double the damage it would have killed any of the other characters up to this point. He pretty much has a permanent flak jacket on him at all times, which previously used to be impact armor, like permanent impact armor, but... Use the knife, might as well use it up while it's here, just makes stuff a little bit faster. And he triggered in the water. I always just punch the door down. Because it's a reasonable option with him, because his punches hurt. Now, I mentioned that he actually has a weapon to start with, or a firearm of some description. So that's basically one of the better pistols that you can get, especially for the early game and stuff. That it can actually last all the way to endgame. Most of the weapons actually can. You just need something with above 100 penetration at the very end. You gotta go penetrate the end boss. Now, as I understand, the end boss now moves, so that might be a little bit harder of a fight. I've never gotten to 40 in the mod, so I don't know for sure. I don't know, but it's a thing. Also, I should put this thing on. Slowly heal, and then... Yeah, the mistake people usually make with this little heal pod thing, so you put it on, it's very useful. You should never waste a battery on it. There's so many little charging stations all over the place, and you can just, I guess, plug in the USB to a wall, and you can have your little heal drone back. Okay. I just spent a crap load of time to get into a room with a bunch of nasty crap, a poisonous spider, and a single deep freezer that I guarantee you does not have nearly as many turkey burgers as mine does. How are turkey burgers not a thing in the space future? I guess they're just kind of described as burgers. I'm nondescript if you think about it. Alright, and away we go. Hello, Mr. Roblox. Push the button for dying less. Good button to have. Put that to 70. Actually, let's put it at 71, and then I'm going to start working on finesse and perception. The usual build order I like to go on this guy. As before, mechanical, lockpick, and give me a little bit more melee, I guess, because that's been a bit more useful. Foraging and biotech. Oh, they're actually yeah, this knife no longer has purpose. Ammo efficient, damaging. It's just such a good pistol. Really, those situations, like right there, are the only times you want to go and break out a sidearm or whatever else. Like stuff where you don't want to touch the thing because it'll melt whatever you're carrying. Or like this. This guy's phenomenally weak to fear, actually, so it's amazing what that is. And that one's probably going to do fear as well. Yep. He's going to run away and get powered right the hell out. You can kind of get to see why this status effect has a tendency to kill a lot of runs. It just makes you run away and leaves you completely exposed for a very long period of time. Punch is better than the knife now. Look at this. I'm gonna keep running around just in case there's a Von Neumann probe. So, yeah, the GM probe is just kind of like this thing that pops up out of nowhere and vaporizes either you or one of your items. So, if you have more items, you're less likely to get vaporized, which is a good thing. Generally speaking, items are good to have, unless you're, I don't know, super religious or something. I should have used the toolkit there. Oh well. I don't even need this door open, I just want him to get better at lockpicking. Every time you succeed, you get better. Or at least... Oh. Crap. 7 health. For some reason I thought I had a level up with the bar as it is. Okay. Stop stupidly losing runs. My advice to myself. Do this, and let's do this. That thing where I misclick and go to the completely wrong end of the menu. There's this, bam, bam. Alright. Right, there's I'm back. Oh, I didn't even know there was anything there. I just accidentally hit the button. Okay. Knife is no longer needed. Potion trap, it's okay. He doesn't know how to think anyway. I've got a lot in common with this guy. That's why I just find him to be a kindred spirit, you know? Who needs the ability to think? Yep, I just fine with that. They're not very good, but they're still worth taking. At least this early on, they're worth taking. Later on, when you're running into all kinds of fun nonsense, like, for example, you end up failing this machine and it turns you into one of those white blob things. Yeah, that's a little bit more worthy of thought. Some consideration might help with that one. Oof, there's a lot of these characters here, isn't there? 38% chance of success. Okay, we're gonna wait for that thing to flap around. I'm kind of getting kicked in the nuts here pretty astoundingly. One nice thing I have to say is that his recovery rate is far better than the original. Charges are Medrone, perfect. Exactly what I needed. Wait, X out of that. I needed to use the toolkit. Yeah, so in base game, his regen rate, I think it was like 1 every 30 steps or something. Like, whereas in this one, it looks like he's getting maybe 1 every 5 or so while resting. It was bad. Like, when I went to go heal up, let's see, I had like 3,000 health by the end of the game at level 100. So, got down to about 50 or so, just getting to the very last hatch to get to floor 40. And... see, how'd it go? I think it took me like 2.5 hours for him to actually heal his entire bar, just by leaving it running. So just kept going, resetting the rest thing, like leaving, going, doing something else, and then coming back to it. Over and over and over and over and over and over and over. It was stupidly long. Another one of those. Do you want to recharge? That's just bad. I know the Drawn's gonna get wasted, kind of. It's fine, because this guy's a pretty heavy eater as it is. 10,000 health for medical treatment. I guess a bed's medical treatment. Now then. Food-wise, he really likes grubs, so that's good. Cheese, we got some artificial food. Some space chow, as it were. With this guy, it's usually better just to eat the ingredients. Quite frankly, most of the time, if you end up trying to cook something, like, he can barely cook meat. That's one of the reasons his strength is so high. He's able to resist a lot of the diseases because he does have to eat raw food a lot. Another thing that my wife likes to joke at me about, like, how can you eat food that's potentially gone old? I'm like, well, iron stomach, I guess. Being fed garbage. There's that. Actually, that sounds insulting. Okay, so to clarify that story. No, actually, I'm not trying to say, like, my wife doesn't know how to cook or something. Her cooking is freaking amazing. What I'm trying to say is that, when it comes to, stuff like that. So, if anyone has had alcoholic for the sake of a parent before, you probably may know a tournament that is somebody trying to make an omelet, trying to cook using wine, basically just giving you a weird mess that's like half porridge, half raw eggs, and like wine dumped on top. And being a dumb little kid that doesn't know what that exactly means, I'm like, I guess it's food. I've been told that they're a world-class chef or something. And, yeah. If you're a dumb little kid, you may eat crap like that just because you were told that it's supposed to be really good. I wasn't the brightest kid. I think that's pretty obvious there. But yeah, no, there were some pretty gross contraptions, and I ended up talking to my brother about it years down the line, like wondering how much of that he ended up getting, because we kinda just... It's weird how we had completely similar but separate experiences in the same situation. So like, it turns out the weird food thing was just ever present. So like, just, you wake up, little 10-year-old self, run down, and just all kinds of bizarre monstrosities, like a waffle that's maybe 10% of the way cooked through, and then is like mostly goop, and then there's just some mystery junk involved. It's just something. Well, it's a thing that is in there. And also, Berserk is not letting me change off that knife. There we go. So yeah, sometimes. But it turns out later on down the line that gives you a friggin' iron stomach to the point where if there's ever a question over whether something's gone bad, people just hand it to me. They're like, here you go. If you don't die, it's probably edible. So there we go. And then weirdly enough, yet another reason why I find this guy to be surprisingly relatable. You might think the whole thing of being very weak to diseases while at the same time just eating really messed up food all the time. I think that those go against each other. And that's his thing. I can eat, really messed up foods, be perfectly fine, but then wind up in the same situation where, a kid sneezes on me and I'm friggin' in bed for 3 weeks. I don't know how that works. I don't know what the difference is between those two. Who knows? But what I do know is this guy is potentially punching his way to victory. Okay, so we got grab. Yeah, I think I'm just going to take the knife off the bar now, or just put the fist in its place. I don't know why I haven't done that yet. More foraging, more biotech, please. Yeah, remove shortcut, add arm blades, there we are. Ooh, and we got those diagnostic... No, wait, that was the last guy. He's dead now. Put that as the thumbnail for this. Oh, that was the last guy, but he's dead now. We tried. He's not around very much anymore. Here's the escapee hole. 7. This is one of the reasons I friggin' love Ripari now. He's really good at getting through the early floors. Later on, he's just really good at surviving stuff in general. He's good at burst encounters, that's the way I should probably put it. Probably no need to waste ammo on those last 2 shots, but it's fine. Something squishy around. Oh well. Everything worth exploring has been explored. We're going nowhere, first of all. Grab. Punch. Oh, crap. Done and done. I'm slightly still too poisoned. I have no anti-poison either. Way to recharge that. Okay, taking a nap on the spot is the only way. That might be just enough recovery to survive. Okay, yeah, it was. It, in a nutshell. Yeah, I survived that thing. Everything's gonna be fine now. 5 seconds later. Oh, and I'm on 1 health again. How does this keep happening? Okay, you're a fun roam. Be a lot of damage, so shoot that one. And just the rest of them. Okay. What did I just say? This gonna be good? Might drain by 1. Awesome. Well, rep run. Eat that. I'm gonna go eat everything for these last few moments. I would say there's like a 5% chance that they'll all roll their AIs to not attack this round, but that's, you know, unlikely. Can I just instantly craft this? Nope. Eaten. Alright. So there we go. That's all I really have time for today. But hope to do more of this in the future. Hope it was amusing. And yeah, thank you for coming and looking at it. So, you have a good day. Take care.